liquidity target. So with the opening, with 930 basically rallying higher, we check out Asia highs, we took out London highs, New Kill Zone buys liquidity, and also daily buys liquidity, which now also completed the higher time frame market maker buy model. What's really important for our higher time frame market maker sell model, or basically higher time frame retracement. To me, important was also the SS liquidity right here. Definitely also for my trader took. That's just the extra SS liquidity of the engineered SS liquidity, which basically followed, so like the trend line right there. Definitely, I still expected we're going to reach even lower, but that was definitely a target I was looking for. I think with that we can already drop to a 5-minute chart right here. So basically still the same. You can already see that our aim session was really difficult today because we have so many and large wicks to the downside and to the upside. So high resistance in here. Also still kind of with going over to lunch, but especially with lunch we can see we have a really clean price run, and I will talk about this now. Let me just check what PM is doing. So PM also trading now lower after this really huge consolidation, but that's not really what I want to chase now, just because of the fact that we now scrap the extra SS liquidity. To me, today is basically just done, and I don't really expect much from today. So before we talk about the opening, I want to show you always regular trading hours. So that's really a important factor to me as well, just to see how we trade there. So basically what we did today is we have a premium gap to the upside of 59 handles. Especially already from there, I want to see that we trade back to CE. So that's definitely a target. That's also what once again is calling more for a bearish bias, because with 930 we are just trading away. Obviously with the wick we already trade completely through it, but in bearish days we want to see that we maybe even come back down and trade back with a body to CE. In that case we also completely close it in and trade beyond it. But that's not really what we always need, so we could already frame a trade setup already only back to in that case CE, because if we go back to electronic trading hours, you can see that we have basically CE above our new kill zone SS liquidity. So that's definitely a reasonable target to look for, and also obviously the SS liquidity right there. Back to regular trading hours. So what my frame was still that we are going to see lower prices. We do have lots of current levels just there. That's due to the fact that we consolidated so much at the price range, but rather still kind of what I'm still kind of interested in is the region down here, because we just have such a large inefficiency, first right here to the downside, now also to the upside. We are really missing bodies in here, so eventually I would like to see that we kind of trade lower into that, but that's just, yeah, for the previous, for the next days. But if not, we have to adapt. It's only something what I wanted to mention. So now back to the electronic trading hours chart and to the opening. Let's first talk about the AM session, and then I'm going to talk about my lunch trade. So today's AM session, as I already explained, is kind of difficult due to the fact that we have high resistance on the higher time frame, so in that case the 5 minute. Still, I would have liked to see that we would see the potential for bearish setup. Maybe let's just move this to the left. So also really much SMT being in play. In such conditions, we really have to be patient. We have to wait for the obvious buy liquidity draw, which is the daily buy liquidity right here. And at best, we also wait for SMT. And then we want to see a clear 2022 model. So in that case, CSD with displacement. That's really important. Could also mark this out. It's just that we need to see some confirmation that we're going to trade lower. That's really important. We don't want to trade something like a retracement. What we could do then is basically that we already enter off the bearish value gap right here, which formed also at 9.53. I think that's that's quite nice to see because it's within our 10 macro. So definitely possible trade right there. And obviously we then aim for NORG open kill zones as liquidity. We aim for our CE level right here of today's regular trading hours. Wait, let me maybe also mark this out right there. We can also aim for regular trading hours CE level. So obviously that's what we want to see, that we hit this. And that's also why we kind of saw this retracement back into our inversion gap, because we trade back to it. We did not respect it, but that's already indicating that we are going to see lower prices soon. So later on, that's really something to be aware of. We reacted off in that case of the 8.30 opening price, also a level to be aware of. But that's why we want to have a partial booked right here at CE. Really important. And then we could already go break even, get stopped. That's a possibility, but I want to talk a bit about some other possibilities as well. In that case, always if we take partials, we go break even. That's a rule. So that's one option, just one partial at CE and going break even and being done with that. Another option could be that we want to be a bit more patient because it's not really looking as clean. What I also want to mention is the fact that on ES we also saw really clean, possible lower prices, so clean draw for price. NORG open kill zones has liquidity, London lows, Asia lows, so no SMT, no session SMT being in place. So therefore, it's also a more obvious way to make it. In that case, why we could have faded it is because ES is lacking displacement, and once again we have so much SMT being in play, it's a bit choppy. So yeah, that's why we could have faded it. And if we fade it, so if you just be a bit more patient, maybe wait for 10 AM, then it's a bit more clear. You could have really waited how we trade right here. In that case, you have to be really cautious that you don't switch your bias, that you don't fall for the up close candle right here, that you don't enter long of that right here, because once again we want to see lower prices. We are already overbought, we are above every opening price, we have clear liquidity pools, and obviously regular trading hours is also indicating lower prices in that case. So also what is kind of leading to those high resistance conditions is the bearish inversion gap we have right here. So that's also maybe something we could be aware of. Wait, I'm gonna ring 9:30. I did not mark it out. So it's right here. Wait, right here. So in that case, I think that's also the first presented value gap. So that's why it's also having such a strong impact on price. And that's why you have to expect also sometimes high resistance, even if you do think that we are going to trade lower. But yeah, definitely we're reacting off that as well. And also, once again, CE of today's regular trading hours in open range gap. So once again, if you faded, don't fall for the longs and be really cautious. And then with 10 a.m., we expand lower and close even below the inversion gap right there. And that's in that case perfect. That's what I want to see, because in that case, that's our manipulation leg which created SMT. So a manipulation leg either has to be a short-term run stops or leads to SMT creation, and that's what we see right here. So therefore, this displacement right here has to fail, and that's what we see. We close below it, trade back to it, and then we roll over. And that's the second trade we could have taken, the second possibility. We enter right here, stop above, once again, maybe 10 a.m. Would like to have it above the SMT right here. And then once again, we aim for lower prices. In that case, we once again can take a partial at CE and then go break even. Or we have a strong conviction and just hold through this. And then we can aim for, obviously, Newcomb kill zones as liquidity. We can aim for London lows and Asia lows. And also CE of the daily quadrants wick I showed you before. Now I'm going to remove regular trading hours open range gap, and also the trade right here, because it's a bit annoying. So what I still have now left is basically the external sales liquidity draw, and we just have really choppy price action, nothing I want to trade in here. So how did I come to the trade I took right here? It's just that I wanted to see that we still trade back to our sales liquidity. And why is that? Because this wick came so close to it. That's engineered size liquidity. In that case, I want to see that we resweep the low right here and then also finish or complete our market maker sell model. For that, I also want to see that we do some specific things. So first of all, I like to see that with 11:30 opening up, we trade higher, we have a short-term run stops, and we sweep. So we sweep by liquidity, and we created also SMT. So that's really important in that case, so that is already in play. For a continuation trade, we need a smart money reversal, and that's what we see right here. Because after such choppy price action, only lower prices, we need to see damage to the buy side, especially with a new session opening up. But still, I would probably not even take a trade right here if we do not have, if we would not have closed or displaced. That's important. Displaced through CE right here, and that's really important. We displaced through CE of our daily quadrants levels, and that's why I wanted to see that we respect the gap right here as a breakaway gap. Obviously, once again, the displacement of the manipulation leg has to act as, or has to get treated as a inversion for a gap. I want to see that this displacement right here fails, that we trade lower. What I also want to see is, once again, CST. That's nice to see, and that we respect the gap. So I was really patient. I wanted to see that we respect it, we trade back to CE and trade lower, and that was for me enough. Entered right there. Put my stop only above the high right here. To me, I wanted to see really an aggressive reaction. I wanted to see lower prices, because we spent so much time in here. That's really high resistance. Now I want to see, especially with the 10 macro, not 10, with the lunch macro, I want to see speed. Because after consolidation and after a breakaway gap, we want to see speed. That's really important. If we displace through a quadrants level, especially after after consolidation, we want to see that the gap gets realized as a breakaway gap, and that low resistance follows. That's a 11:30, so a lunch macro with not a lunch macro. It's a lunch setup with lunch macro continuation. So low resistance delivery within the macro. Long day today, sorry guys. But yeah, entered with 2 contracts, really clean delivery. Also use basically the fair gap right there. So as you can see, the bodies reacted to it perfectly. Trade lower, took my first partial right here at the external buy sells liquidity draw, and then trade my stop tighter and tighter, and got stopped right there. I would have liked once again to see that we reach to the point, so minus 0.25 level, of our Fibonacci extension of our opening range from AM. So that would have been definitely nice to see. In that case, I also did not really expected even much lower prices, because minus 0.25 is already a quite strong expansion since the opening range. So yeah, that's what I like to see. Yeah, got stopped right there, but I think I'm content with the stop. I could have just left it above the high right here, but I mean, I'm content with that. Could have also just exited below the short-term low right there. That's also a possibility, which I would have liked maybe even to do, because we already are this close to our external draw, I would say. So that would have been a perfect exit right there. But yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you understood my setup right there, why I took it, why I really participated in a low resistance liquidity run, why I was able to frame that. So yeah, I guess that's basically it. Also a possible, no, not a possible trade, but also something to look at right here. So long-term close macro, we sweep buys the liquidity right here, and then we displace lower into the session liquidity. But in that case, that's not a trade I want to take. So just for holding lower prices, you have to be aware of that. So yeah, that's it. Also executed on my iPad today. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get better at, trading on my iPad, because I will not always have the opportunity to to trade on my desk with my PC. So yeah, but actually worked quite well. It's a bit more chaotic. I don't know if you say it the right way. It's a bit more stressful. You don't really have the best overview. You can't mark out everything, but yes, I think I'm definitely getting better at it. And yeah, really liked today's trading day. So I believe the trading AM today was definitely stressful, and the trade right here was really just clean to take. It's not that I would always be this patient and wait for lunch. I think if I looked already at the AM session and I decided not to trade, then I would also skip the rest of the day. But sometimes, just like today, if I did not even look at AM and just think that it's a really good opportunity, that's a good setup to take, then I'm going to take it, even if it's not inside my AM session where I'm mainly trading. So from 9:30 to the lunch macro base, the long close macro. So guys, but yeah, that's it. Hope you got the right impression of the trade today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new. Safe trading, guys, and see you soon.